Welcome to Therapy Lounge. I'm your host, Dupree Shamir, and my co-host.
Softly spoken.
How are you, softly spoken?
I am wonderful. How are you, Mr. Dupree
I'm doing
Shamir?
well. I'm doing well. Thank y'all guys for thank
Good.
y'all guys for making to the appointment. We're so happy to have you here. If this is your first time, we want to welcome you to a session. And if this is your first time, follow us on Instagram at Social Therapy IG on Instagram once again, and also follow us on Twitter, Social Therapy number one. And we also want to let you know Softly Spoken will have Instagram, so be on the lookout for that.
Yes.
Yeah. So how was you?
My wonderful daughter, Miss Vonnie, is working on it.
Shout out to Miss Vonnie 215. Miss Vonnie, shout out to
Yes.
her. Yes, yes,
Yeah, that's my little networking bunny.
absolutely. She working hard over there, definitely. And you know how
Yes, she is.
yeah, so we want to let the listeners know tonight's topic will be self-worth, knowing your self-worth. It's an interesting one right there, right?
Ooh.
Softly spoken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a tough
yeah,
one.
this is a tough one and it's a very important one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
we all struggle with
yes,
it.
we do. You know, you have people who, maybe have a 9 to 5 job. They're an entrepreneur. They want to feel like they want to give it their all. Sometimes people feel like they're not being appreciated on it. They're not being appreciated on what type of work that they're doing. When it comes to self-worth,
Right.
knowing that treasure, knowing that what you stand for, what you believe in, and so a lot of people don't know their self-worth.
No. It's something that we're not taught. It's something that's not talked about. Um, Unfortunately, it stems from childhood and, to no fault of our parents because they were struggling with their own self worth. And what happens is we pass this down from generation to generation unconsciously, not knowing because, again, no one has made us aware of what it is or what it looks like. Um, and it does take a lot of work to develop your self worth. So, you know, what would be an example from you about what self worth looks like?
Great question. I think what it is self-worth, uh, having pride on what you're doing, in whatever field that you're in. Just say for example, just say
Right.
for example that you are, let's say, you are a poet. You do
Mm-hmm.
poetry night maybe every once a week, and you want your audience to gravitate to what you're doing as a poet. When you giving good poetry, you want to like get their attention, and uh you want self-worth. You want people to be entertained. You want people to enjoy poetry, and you want to give a good positive message. And and that
Right.
sometimes people feel a self-worth when they doing a poetry and they're not getting that applause from the audience, or it's not catching people's attention, when it comes to self-worth.
Right.
Does that make sense though, softly spoken?
It
Yeah.
does. Because when we lack
Hmm.
self-worth, we need outside forces or people or situations to validate us, to say that we're worthy, to say that we're good enough. And when you have a healthy sense of self-worth, you don't need any of that. Self-worth helps you love and respect yourself. um, it enables you to be confident and show up in the world as your authentic self, regardless of what anybody else may think, feel, or believe. The most important thing is what you believe about yourself. And too many times we spend so much time in negative self talk saying we're not good enough. And we need to change that narrative and say, I am good enough because I'm here. I am good enough because I keep showing up. I keep working on myself. I'm trying to be a better person. And whether anybody else sees it or recognizes it, it doesn't matter because you value who you are as a person.
I agree. It's like you don't need a validation, correct?
Right.
And now
Mm-hmm.
check now. It's just like if we say, just say a girl's night out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
women have a different way they dress, very stylish, fashion, and maybe just once female out of the group is not dressing the way they're dressing, and it makes
Mm-hmm.
they may kind of like have judgment towards her, or they might say, "Well, I don't like them shoes you wearing. I don't like the dress you have
Right.
on," and it's kind of like saying like you kind of trying you breaking her spirit as part. You should be a friend, but you breaking her spirits by saying, we all dressing nice and you're not dressing up to par. We don't like what you got on or the way your hair looks or this and that. And then she
Mm-hmm.
probably the person like, you know what? Um that's bringing somebody's self esteem down to the lowest common denominator. You, cause you
It is. And really what she should say to her friends is, doesn't matter whether you like it or not. I like it.
absolutely right.
So, and that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
That's
I
right.
like it. That's why
Right.
we have different styles of clothes because none of us are the same.
Right. Now, have you ever experienced being around a group of women, a group of ladies, and uh they might maybe be judgmental towards you, softly spoken, about the way you dress? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, can you give an example of that? It's very interesting.
That look before you walk out the house, like, oh, is that what you're wearing? And
Man.
immediately your confidence is shot. And you have to, pull yourself together and say, yup, this is what I'm wearing. And try not to hear that play over and over again in your mind all night and be self conscious about it, But absolutely. I mean, too many times, again, we're taught how to tear people down and not build people up.
Wow. Yeah.
Again, all of this stuff comes from childhood. All of us have suffered some type of childhood trauma,
Mm,
and it manifests itself in different ways in our lives. How many of us as children felt like we were invisible and that our parents didn't see us? They didn't know us. You know what I
right.
mean?
Right.
So we grow up as adults feeling unseen and unheard.
Now, do you think people who's being like that behavior that's being very negative towards the person that's feeling good and they like the way they look or dress, do you think that's been passed down from generation to generation? And is that a possibility that could be passed down from generation to generation?
100%.
Mm,
100%.
right, right.
Because we were all raised by broken people. We're broken ourselves. And
I got you.
unfortunately, again, it's not that our parents intentionally did it. Their parents probably did it to them. It's just generational until somebody in the family steps up and says, enough is enough. I'm going to do the self work that I need to do to show my self worth to the future generations so that we don't have to keep repeating the same pattern.
That's right. It's like you have to break that cycle, you know. You break
Right.
that cycle, and I feel as though when you know your self worth. If you got people that's around you that just brings that's not very uplifting to you, then I think you need to like just
Mm-hmm.
you kind of gotta pick and choose who your friends are because friends supposed to be uplifting one another. The self
Right.
worth is a very strong and is very it can be empowering. Self worth, you know your self worth. You know when you wake up, you look in the mirror, you say, I feel good. I see another. I'm seeing another day. I feel great. I'm going out here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going out here. I'm gonna face the world, and I'm gonna face people, and I'm gonna have a positive outlook on everything, and I'm not gonna let no one break my spirit. That's a definition of self
Right.
worth. Self worth. You feel great. Or it's like,
Mm-hmm.
or you just taking
Mm-hmm.
a walk, you go jogging, or you reading a book on a bench in a nice park area, or you walking your dog. You feel as though you own that self worth. You deserve to own that self worth.
Right.
And too many times it's a high
Mm-hmm.
statistic number that a lot of people don't feel like they don't feel a self worth because it's just for an example, okay? Maybe if you're in a marriage and vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
vice versa, the woman make dinner and the husband, boyfriend, or fiance comes home and he has an attitude. He brings the anger home from the work back on vice versa. He bring it home from work and she
Mm-hmm.
cooked a nice home cooked meal, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't appreciate it. But like I said, vice versa, it can go both ways, man or woman. And he doesn't
Right.
appreciate it. Him or her gonna feel some kind of way. They're gonna it's really gonna it really will break your spirit because you're like, wow, I made this dinner for my significant other, and they don't seem like they appreciate it.
Well, I mean, we can flip that
Hmm.
and say, what did your partner go through
Right.
that
Sit
day?
down and talk first.
And right, talk it out because it's not always about us.
Right.
So sometimes your partner might need your support. And yes, you've done this wonderful thing for them, but if, let's say they got fired today,
Mm. Okay.
and that's why they're upset and angry.
Right. Okay.
Find out what's going on first instead of just letting it affect how you feel about yourself.
Right. Okay. Great point. That's a great point. Because if you look at it, like you said,
Yeah.
um, now it's not saying he don't appreciate what you did for him, or vice versa. You just wanna,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, maybe you can kind of say, well, you know what? Let me see him or her. Let me see how their day was. Maybe we can sit and I'm figure out why they feeling this kind of way, why they's not acknowledging me making a nice dinner for them, And like you
Right.
said, softly spoken, when you speak this out, you speaking out, you wanna you're being concerned about, you know, your partner's day or how the day went, and then they kind of was then you'll understand that they do appreciate your self worth, but there's something's going on behind the scenes.
Right. You have to know your partner.
Right, right.
And if that's not their usual behavior or character, then there's something else going on.
That is so true.
You
That's
know?
that.
But the flip side to that, like imagine this scene. Imagine somebody shows up to your door. They knock on your door. They have all of these backpacks on.
Mm-hmm.
One backpack says abandonment. One backpack says childhood trauma, negative self talk, jealousy, lonely, victim mentality, neglect, abuse, anger, fear. And they just come to your door and they just drop all these bags at your
Mm-hmm.
door. Would you accept that? Would you say, come on in with all of that? Most of us
No, no,
wouldn't.
most of us, yeah, they would. We definitely wouldn't. Not at all.
But we expect people to take our baggage because we haven't done our own work to improve our self worth. So then we attract a partner who has all of those issues as well because they become our mirror so that we can work on all of those things.
Hmm. Yes, that's. I like that. That makes a lot of sense right there. That really does.
So as you increase your self worth, you'll then learn how to remove toxic people from your life. You'll learn how to find loving friends and partners. You will learn how to set healthy boundaries with people. And people are afraid to set boundaries because they fear being rejected. No one wants to be alone or lonely, but boundaries are good. Boundaries teach people how to respect you. And they tell people which behaviors you're willing to accept and what you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, nobody teaches us how to set
No,
boundaries.
no, they.
So, you can tell someone, I won't allow you to verbally abuse me or mentally abuse me because I am worth more than that.
Yes, yes, you.
And if you cannot give me that, that's wonderful and great. And I'm going to leave you in love because I love me more. And I'm not going to sacrifice myself for you.
Yes, because it's very important to love yourself first. Love thyself first,
Right,
and have that inner peace with yourself. I think
right.
I have a listener that sent me a message today. Pamela.
Okay.
Now she said she didn't mind me saying this. She works at and
Okay. Hey, Pamela.
you shouldn't feel ashamed, Pamela. Yeah, she's not ashamed. That's what I like about it. She works at Burger King, right? Softly spoken, and she have a
Okay.
situation with her manager. She was saying,
Mm-hmm.
we know we in the COVID-19, and a lot of mostly a lot of fast food chains is kind of open up, or some that stayed open during the COVID situation. She was saying
Mm-hmm.
as working the cash register, and also flipping the burgers and fries and stuff like that. She left me a message and said that she felt as though she does more than what she's supposed to do in her job title and her duty. She said that she does the bathrooms, she cleans everywhere, she even takes trash out, and so
Okay.
she do everything. She's multitask. She does everything, and she feel as
Mm-hmm.
though she worked harder than anyone there at the fast food chain, at the fast food restaurant. And
Okay.
she was saying to me was that she felt as though her manager is not appreciating her self-worth. And
Okay.
like, what would you say to her, softly spoken? What would you say to Pamela in that situation when she feel as though she's doing all this work? Does the manager have do he have should he like compliment her as far as knowing her self-worth? Like, what would you say to her in that situation? What should she do? Because she feel as though should she just like walk away from this job and just move on? And and I said that no, you don't walk away. And I said, make sure you listen to the show tonight. But yeah, make sure you listen to the show. So, what advice would you give her?
So there's a couple of things. So first of all, Pamela, ask for your job description because your job description is going to tell you exactly everything that you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Second of all, showing up and doing a good job at work, if that's your work ethic and that's your character, don't allow anyone to change that. And even if that manager doesn't recognize, someone else will recognize and see the good job and effort that you're putting in. The third thing is if you value yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or does or thinks. You don't need that from your manager. You give yourself a pat on the back and say, you know what, Pamela, you did a great job today. You showed up 10 minutes early and you gave 100%. Good job, Pamela. I am proud of you. Give yourself your validation.
Yes, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, softly spoken, because at the end of the day, you don't have to get anyone's approval. You know your self worth, so you know that you can move
Mm-hmm.
forward from that job. You build your portfolio up. If you work hard, there's another door that's going to open up for you, Pamela. Never let no
Exactly.
one make you feel less of a person, you know? And we know the fast food industry it's a lot of work, you know? And, my suggestion I think is that, just that you're doing a good job there. You know that as far as your character and you working hard and you know your self-worth. The thing is know your self-worth,
Right,
Pamela. And you
right,
move forward from that, and then you build up your resume. You know that other people will appreciate you, even though if they don't appreciate you, you know your self-worth. There are
right,
another avenues, there are another doors that will open up for you. So me and
Mhm.
softly spoken definitely want to leave you with that words of wisdom tonight. And
And Pamela, ask people who you've done a phenomenal job for to write you recommendations. That way you're building up your portfolio. When you if you decide you want to leave and go somewhere else, you can go in and say, "Hey, I have 50 people or 20 people, whatever it is, that gave me recommendations and said I did a phenomenal job." Do that for yourself. And that also, that also helps with our self-worth when we read all these wonderful things that people say about us. It's tangible.
yes,
So, that's another idea that you can use.
yes, that's a great advice. Definitely, that's a great advice. Um, because too many times a lot of people don't know their self worth, and like you said before, we don't need validation from anyone. The Most High, the Creator, knows your self worth before you know your self worth.
Hmm.
And no matter what
Right.
avenues that you in, whatever field that you in, whatever profession that you in, whatever you're dealing with in relationships, whatever you're dealing with, you know, your family, whatever you're dealing with, just the everyday life. Um,
Right.
if you trying to learn, if you took a if you took a you took your exam and you may have felt it for the first time, you still got to know your self-worth. You don't give up. You just, the next time, you know what to study for, you know what to prepare yourself for,
Hmm.
you know and too many times we never give ourselves credit. We don't need other people to
No, we don't.
we don't give yeah we don't need everybody else to give us credit. you know um it's like, for example, a lot of people tell me this all the time, softly spoken, like, oh, Dupree, man, wow, you started a magazine, you did a lot of stuff, you made products, you made candles, you do this and you do that. And you know what, my whole thing is, I want to show and prove. I don't expect anybody to give me a pat on the back, though. I just want to show people what I'm doing, and maybe I can inspire anyone. I don't care if you're young or old. It's never too late to create something that you might want to do. Hey, if I make candles, you might want to make candles. There's in my opinion, there's really no competition. It's the fact that there's is room for everybody to do products, t-shirt lines, being a fashion designer, whether you're an artist or whether you a musician or whatever the case may be. And too many times people play, oh wow, why are they copying off of me? I never thought like that, softly spoken. I mean, when I started the magazine,
Right.
right? When I started this magazine, Social Therapy magazine, right? The people that was under me, they started a magazine, and I was happy for them. A lot of them thought that they was kind of piggybacking off of what I was doing, but no, I inspired. I mean, regardless of how they left, I inspired people to start a publication or a digital mag online. So I tell
Right.
anybody, there's enough room for everyone. And I use
Mhm.
this example for, like, like hamburgers. There's so many different restaurants that makes hamburgers. You understand? Right.
Right.
So there's enough room for everybody to expand, and knowing who you are, knowing your self worth. So I cheer and I support anyone on what they want to do. So
Right. But
I
see,
know I was
you
getting off the
did.
topic. I know I was getting off the topic.
No, no, no. I wanted to just say you did all of those things
Hmm.
for yourself, not because you wanted notoriety or fame. You did it because genuinely that's what you wanted to do.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's what's important. And so you don't feel threatened by someone else doing the same thing that you did, that you're doing, because it was
That's
for
right.
you.
That's right. And I think it's good if we inspire whatever field that you in. You inspired someone. That's just like if somebody was an attorney, whether they're a criminal attorney or marriage attorney, law attorney, or basically like a patent attorney. They inspire the student to want to follow in his or her footsteps to be an attorney.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. You can inspire anyone. Know your self worth. Know who you are, You being a prime example that you can kind of uplift someone and give them inspiration. And that's what self worth is too. Like self worth, just knowing, knowing who you are. Let me ask you a question, softly spoken. Have
Sure.
you have you know your self worth? What have you have there been times that you felt like um you didn't know your self worth on things that you have done, different avenues of things of your walk of life? Have you ever felt that way?
All my life. Um, you know, we spend so much time and it's like, well, my mother said this about me, my father said this about me. The pastor said that I should, and it's almost like, and I apologize if this offends anybody. Well, Massa said, but none of that matters. Like once you start working on yourself, you'll realize that it doesn't matter. Again, it's about what you have to say about yourself and the thoughts and feelings that you have about yourself. But absolutely, I still battle self-worth. I still have to stop myself and say, am I doing this action because I love myself, or is this harming me? It's constantly having conversations with myself, even with people in my life. Is this person toxic?
Mm,
Well, I have to love myself enough to say, again, I love you, but I can't have you in my life because you're not good for me. But yeah, absolutely. I've been battling this again, and leading into another subject, being a larger size woman and what society tells you about yourself, and trying to fight through that and find beauty being a plus size woman. You get teased a lot as a kid. So that's another wound and another trauma that you had.
I think
So,
I think yes, yes. But me personally, I think full figure women and thick women are beautiful. You know.
yeah, I mean, we are all beautiful, but it's when 1,000 people can tell you that, but you have to feel it. And you only start to feel it by doing the self work.
That's right. That's self worth. That's right. That's a good one.
I mean, literally, I used to I used to rub my stomach and say, I love the gut. I embrace the gut. The gut is my friend.
Right, right.
Whatever you got to do to
Because
make you feel good about yourself.
right. Because
Shh,
you
don't
know
tell
your
nobody
self
I've
worth.
done that.
No, see, the thing is, you know your self worth. I don't care it's from the
I'm
gut.
working on it.
I don't care it's from the guts to the hips to the bosoms to who just who you are. It's the fact that you love your body. It's a art. It's what God has created for you, and it's like you love yourself, and that's the thing, And like you said, it's like I love who I am. I love, and I know my self worth. So
Hmm.
whether you slim, thick, medium built, whatever the case may be, it's the fact that you as an individual love who you are as a woman. That's very important to all the women that's listening tonight. Love who you are, whether you're big or small, and that's very important to do. No matter what
Right, because we're
anybody.
all beautiful.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes it takes looking in the mirror and finding one thing on your body that you think is absolutely beautiful. And like, you got some beautiful eyes, girl. Go ahead, girl, bat those eyes. Find something, because all of us have something. And don't fall into what society says you should look like, because society is a lie.
yeah. Wow, that is so true because they're not the judge or the jury.
Not at all.
At the end of the day, and that's very important. We also could speak on self worth, right? You know how the parents to their children, they about to graduate from high school, and they want their daughter or son to go to college, and sometimes, you know, your children may not want to go to college. They might want to start a business, or they might want to
Mhm.
or they might want to go to technical school. They might want to take a different route, you know.
Right.
And many times, parents sometimes look down on their children when they don't go to college. That's a very
Mm-hmm.
that's a high statistic rate too, because
It is.
they they change, they could take a different route,
Mm-hmm.
and I think as well. Firstly, you go to college, you want to go to college, you go to college. It's your prerogative. But I think being an entrepreneur, because I'm an entrepreneur, I think that's the right way to go. If you want to be an entrepreneur, but this my opinion. This is just my opinion. But I salute anyone. But too many times, people, they expect their children to go to college, and sometimes they want to take a different route, and they put that pressure on them. Like,
Right.
how do you feel about that? Like, because that does happen in the society. There's always been this label thing that if you don't go to college, you're not going to make it. You're not going to have a good paying job, or vice versa. So it's just you're not going to make it. You're going to be, working a under $10 an hour job now, whatever the case may be. Like, what would you say about that?
Well, coming from a person that I didn't realize there wasn't an option after high school. I thought that was, you had to go to college.
Hmm.
Um, but it comes from a good place. Our parents want us to be successful. They don't want us to struggle like they had to struggle. And they know the importance of education. But also parents sometimes their thinking is limited because there's many ways to get an education. You don't always have to be in a college classroom um, to acquire knowledge, especially now because you can Google anything you want to Google. There's thousands of free classes online where you can get certifications. But again, it comes from a good place because our
Yeah.
parents do want the best for us. Um, and it takes a very strong person to be able to stand up to their parents and say, no, this isn't what I want to do. And for a
Right.
parent to respect that. But also now we're going into the realm of codependency. Um, but, again, parents, parents most likely will always see you as their child.
Right.
And as parents, we have to learn to shift our perspective and see these wonderful, beautiful individuals as grown-ups and with the knowledge of self that they can make these important decisions for themselves.
I agree. I agree with that. Just knowing your self worth. You may want to take a different approach to a different career, and you still respect your parents, and and most likely they will respect what decisions you make, but they want you, like softly spoken, so they want you to be successful. But still know your self-worth, knowing that you're determined to do something that you want to do, that you want to be able to wake up and enjoy, if it's just owning your own business or the career choice that you want to proceed in.
Right.
Right, right. So you
Mhm.
know so I want to leave our listeners, that everybody that who's made it to the appointment today, I want to leave you with something from Alicia's Hartwell book, The Four Cycles. Make sure you purchase that on Amazon. Here are a couple ideas. The Self Love Experiment: 15 principles for becoming more kind, compassionate, accepting of yourself, by Shannon Kaiser. Self love: achieve lasting self love with positive thinking, unconditional confidence, and unshakable self esteem, by Karen Rod. Regardless of your source material, give the information you learn some thought. Ask yourself, how can you incorporate it into your life? And that's from Alicia's Hartwell's The Four Cycle book. You can purchase that right now on Amazon. A great author and a best-selling author on Amazon. So definitely want to leave that with y'all guys today. You have any last words, softly spoken?
Yes. You should be an expert on yourself. You should know yourself better than anybody else and fall in love with yourself. It is a beautiful experience. And if no one else tells you today, we love you, we support you, and we'll show up for you. And we are sending you warm hugs and lots of universal love and light.
Beautiful. Knowing your self worth. Make sure before you go to sleep tonight, look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know your self worth. Even if you feel you have a low self esteem of yourself, just remember, know your self worth. Work on that. Don't beat yourself up. Just take some time, and just know that you are special to the Creator. You was put here for a mission. Know your self worth. To all my listeners, know your self worth. And that's definitely was the show for today. Thank you so much for attending your appointment, being on time to your appointment. I also want y'all guys to know, please follow us on Instagram, Social Therapy IG, and also follow us on Twitter, Social Therapy number one. And I also forgot, I also have a Twitter page, Dupree Shamir. Dupree Shamir is on Twitter. So please comment. Let me know what you thought about the show, me and Softly Spoken. Let us know what you thought about the show, Softly Spoken. Let people know about your Instagram that's coming.
I really, I don't like social media. So again, my wonderful daughter is going to set everything up. She is a marketing phenom, and I want to thank her because as soon as she heard our first podcast, she blasted it out on Instagram and
Yes,
Facebook.
yes.
My
Thank
wonderful
you.
niece Regina, she posted it on Facebook. So I just
God,
want to thank everybody for their support and
yeah.
for their positive reactions and input. We really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, shout out to Giovanni. She's doing it. I already told her today she's gonna be part of the team. Just be patient with. And shout out to Regina too.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Regina, for the support and everyone. Please, share. When you hear this, please share this podcast tonight, Therapy Lounge. We appreciate everyone's support. You can continue. You can donate to this page. You can donate to Therapy Lounge on Anchor. We also on all the platforms on there. We definitely on Spotify as well too. So the word is getting out there. The word is getting out there, and I'm so humble and grateful that y'all guys have this last week session 4. Last week we had a nice rating, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yay!
Yeah. So I'm gonna thank Sophie Spoken. I thank her because she's definitely my friend. She's definitely my co-host, and I'm grateful for that. And she gives great positive energy, and she's a give great inspiration to everyone that's listening. So we want to make sure y'all guys comment. Let us know what you thought about the show tonight. Um, Anything that you would like for us to talk about, feel free to leave a comment. But we want to thank you again for tuning in, and we want to make sure you set your appointment and make sure you be on time for your appointment next Monday at 10 p.m. It's Therapy Lounge with the Pre Shamir and
Softly spoken, and thank you. I'm humbled.
yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. So until then, guys, make sure y'all guys have a great night, and also subscribe to Social Therapy Mag on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. More content is coming. We looking to do more shows, more content. We hopefully maybe doing down the line. This COVID-19 thing, get cleared. We definitely want love to like come to a city near you soon, or we definitely want to do some live events because we want y'all guys to see us in person. We
Yes.
bring great we bring great energy. This is about therapy. It's therapeutic. It's Therapy Lounge, and we want all our listeners to be inspired tonight. So
Yes.
until then, soft spoken. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Y'all
and thank
guys,
you.
y'all guys have a great night, and we'll see you next Monday on Therapy Lounge with the Pre-Shot Man Softly Spoken.
Good
Good night,
night,
everyone.
beautiful people.